Thank you. It's working. Can you all hear me?
Hello, hello. They can hear me.
That's all I need to hear. John, are we good? All right.
Okay. Is it too loud? Perfect.
Should we
Okay.
whisper awkwardly? Yes. That was awkward.
I can't whisper awkwardly.
We know. So, Miss Leticia, welcome to Madison.
Thank you.
It's been 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. You moved here, got this job during a pandemic, you know, a viral pandemic, a racism pandemic, an economic pandemic, all the pandemics. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today? Before we get into some questions, I want to check in with you. This mic is like
Really? Yeah.
yeah.
How am I doing today? I am excited, overwhelmed, afraid, all of the big words all wrapped into one. Oh, I lost my mic. Okay, I'm coming back. Sorry. But I am eager to do the work in this community, get to know it better. The staff is wonderful. I'm just learning about Madison and all the different little intricate spots and where to go eat and, you know, being able to go into these little water holes that are just like off the road. It is so weird because I'm from Milwaukee, we don't have that. But I'm good. And I'm in a headspace that is allowing me to just be open to whatever comes.
Awesome. So, well, first, important question. What are your favorite places to eat so far?
Bucket Honey is like my favorite.
Where is that at?
It's off of the Isthmus, and Danny actually took me there. We went there, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, oh my God, where's this place been all my life? Like, they have the best firecracker shrimp. Ooh, child.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so this is your first public event.
Yes.
And we want people to get to know you.
Okay.
So who is Leticia Nelson?
Okay, you talking about story, right?
You can take it wherever you want to go.
Okay, so Leticia.
And then I may prod a little.
Okay, so Leticia is a person who came from, I'll tell you where I came from. I came from community. And what I mean by that is my mother and father were very much involved in the community as I grew up. And they were always doing something in the community. They drug us around like everywhere. My baby sister is in the audience, and I know she can attest to this, that they drug us around like literally everywhere. They would never go anywhere we couldn't go. That was the first thing. And we spent a lot of time in the community helping other people. I hated it for a very long time because I didn't understand it. Like, why are we giving so much of ourselves and we're ourselves poor? We are also in need in Milwaukee. But it's taught me a lot of things. As I look back, I know that all of those different things were for a reason, and it's why I love community so much now. So, yeah.
So, your parents were involved in community. Your dad worked at the Social Development Commission.
He did. 27 and a half years he was there. And for those of you who don't know what Social Development Commission is, it was an organization within Milwaukee that helped all of the underserved in Milwaukee. They did anything from housing vouchers to daycare centers and Head Start. They fed the poor, they clothed the poor, they were a place of refuge for a lot of people in Milwaukee. And my dad worked there for all of those years. My mother also worked there for 15 or 17 years. And she was a bookkeeper in one of the offices there. And I remember going all the time to her office, and she was in this little bitty office that only had a door into her supervisor's office and then a door out for her to get out. And I always used to wonder, why do they have you back here, Mama, in this little office? You don't have a window, you don't have it's just a little office. And she tells us to this day, I only made $4.56. And when I think about that, you had 3 daughters at home that you needed to raise, and you were making $4.56. How did y'all make it? You know, so, but nevertheless, social development was a launching pad for a lot of things within the Milwaukee area. And I found myself being gravitated more and more to the things that they were doing as I had children and they grew.
So when I talk to you on the stage and off the stage and read part of your story, being here at Goodman Community Center seems a bit full circle.
Yeah.
Why, and it touches something, a very tender spot for you. Why is being at Goodman Community Center right now so important to you?
Well, and we've talked about this, but I'll share that when I came to Goodman, I always knew I had a voice. You know how there's something kind of bubbling up, you don't really know what that is. And
it's not gas.
It's not gas, right. But you're a little afraid to kind of explore what that is. I will say that coming to Goodman has allowed me to, like I said before, open up in a way that I didn't think that I would, because I was a teen mother. And at the time of that, I actually dropped out of high school. My mother and father were going through a divorce, and it was hard for me. All of us, I think. But me in a different way, because I was very, very close to my father. And not having him in my home or moving somewhere he wasn't was, for me, just, I was on a spiral after that. And so I know I gave my mother hell. And I really gave her a run for her money for a long time. And then I found myself pregnant and in her home with this new little baby and a dropout. And so when I got an opportunity to come here, it just flooded memories of all the adversity that I've gone through. Because I see our staff and the people we serve in the community every day. And I was them. There was a time where I was in a relationship, married, abusive husband, and I had these 4 babies, and I felt like I was running for my life. I left him and ended up in a shelter. And so Goodman reminds me of so many things. Like I see the people that we serve, and I want to be that encouragement, that light for them, to tell them that they can make it, that it doesn't matter what color skin you have, we all have struggles, but that they can make it. And so Goodman for me is all of those things, all of the adversity, all of the triumphs too, because I come in here and I see people working so hard every day, giving 150% to make sure that somebody has food, to make sure that a child is being taken care of in child care, like all of those things. And I was telling Angela a little over a week ago that I didn't realize this, but I had little angels along the way. And I didn't know that that's what they were placed there for. I remember having a 10-month-old baby, 2 kids in Head Start, 1 going to kindergarten at the time. And I was getting ready to leave my husband. Kid you not, I was doing it, right? And I was going to this Head Start every day with these children, dropping them off, and then I was also volunteering at the Head Start. And I would walk past this classroom where a lady from MATC in Milwaukee was doing high school classes. And my husband at the time did not want me to do anything to better myself. He wanted to keep me where I was, because that was his strength. That was what he thought was being strong, and his power and all of that stuff. And I would go past this classroom and I peek in, and then I go back, and it was like I was just walking up and down the hallway just to look at, just so she would acknowledge that I'm interested. And one day I didn't do it at all. I actually went around another way, and she actually found me that day at the school, because I always volunteered. And she said, you know, you walk past my classroom every single day. She said, do you have your high school diploma? I said, no, I dropped out, and, you know, giving her the whole spiel. And she said, and I see you have a little baby, and the baby is not really allowed in the space because of our mandates for DHS. She said, but I'll tell you a secret. If you bring that baby every day and you get her to sleep for 2 hours, I will help you get your high school diploma.
That was the first thing. That was the first angel, and it's been going ever since. Ever since that day, she did that because I knew I needed education and I knew I wanted to finish, but it was more important for me to be at home with my little one than to have someone else taking care of him. Dumb move, dumb move. I will tell anybody today, don't do that. Because the other thing that I found out along the way is that if we take care of ourselves and we have little ones, our little ones are going to be taken care of. But we have to do it for ourselves first. We have to get this okay first. But it took me a long time to learn that. So, yeah.
So how has your life experience informed your leadership? And let me back up. The reason I'm asking this question, we're both black women. I don't know if y'all can tell, we're both black, both black women. And sometimes in leadership roles, as black women or women in general, we're told to behave like a certain type of white man that will never be that. Mm-hmm. So how has your lived experience informed how you lead and how you will continue to lead in the future?
Well, I'm back in school part-time right now, and in one of my classes, that was one of the questions. The professor asked what was one thing that we would not repeat or we didn't want to fall into. So my word the word that came up to me is bitter. Because I am a black woman coming from the city of Milwaukee, where there is high teen pregnancy, high black on black crime, lots of guns, lots of violence, it was important for me to get my children out of that space. But the bitterness was all around me in every program I entered, in every room I entered, because there's a lot of, thank you so much, there's a lot of disparity there. And I felt like if I didn't get out of here, you got to get out, because if you don't, you're going to fall into this disparity, and you know that your spirit is far beyond what this is. You have a joy that's there. You don't want that to be dampened. And so bitterness for me became a catalyst for me to not be bitter. Mm-hmm. Watching it, living in it, being exposed to it, and it's made me a better leader, because I'm always thinking about, well, someone has it worse than you, and you can't let your gifts be given if you're bitter. Mm. So it really informs who I am as a leader, and I really take my leadership seriously, because I know that I'm affecting someone whether I want to or not. The other thing that I've learned is that leadership does not make me a chief executive officer.
Tell me more about that.
Leadership is, you can be taught leadership, but I believe that leadership for me has always been innate. I remember when my mother she had finally decided to leave my father. They divorced. And I had sisters to take care of. I felt like I did, especially this little one that's in front, who's a grown-up now. But I had to take care of them because Daddy was not around and my mother was trying to work. And, sometimes we had to come home and let ourselves in. Sometimes we had to cook. Sometimes, I had to do all of those things. And she was watching. Mm-hmm. My middle sister was watching. So I'm either going to pull myself up and try to be this leader for them, or I'm just going to sink into a corner and be like a lot of youth who don't have that, mental aptitude to be able to pull themselves out of this little dark space because they don't have someone around them to help them. I actually, because it was high school time when this happened, I had a coach, another angel, didn't know it at the time, Mr. Kern, and he could tell from the time when school's year started to my father and mother breaking up, he could tell a change in me. And so he said to me one day, he said, Letesha, you're so smart, you're gonna do wonderful things. He's actually was a head basketball coach for North Division in Milwaukee for a lot of years. A lot of people know him there. And he said, I'm gonna make you a statistician. And I'm like, what's that? Like, I don't wanna do that. That's stupid. It's stupid. He said, but now I see you skipping school. You're skipping because there's something going on and you need something to do. I'm like, you know what you're talking about. And I remember him saying, yep, I want you to come and I'm gonna teach you how to do it. You're so good at math, this will be easy for you. And so he made me start coming to the basketball games and doing stats for the team. And I would go with the team and all of this stuff. And I was like, why is he doing this? Why is this white man doing this? Like, who is this person? And why is he doing it for me? But now that I look back, and I've actually since seen him, he was like, see, I told you were gonna make it. I told you were gonna come out of that place. So it's people like that have kept me doing that, and they inspire me to also reciprocate that to the people that I meet.
So I love your stories. I mean, I could ask you so many questions all day, you know that. But I want to connect to this notion of surviving and thriving. So for such a long time, it sounds like you have had to survive whatever the system is, and now you're at a place of arrival and thriving. I know. So what does that mean for you to lead this community with so many kids looking up to you and modeling what it means to have arrived and thrived and
So
thriving?
you know how I feel about the word arriving.
Yep, we'll go back and forth on that.
Okay. I told Angela a couple of weeks ago, I don't feel like I've arrived anywhere for a lot of reasons. But I am in a space only after some deep self-reflection. I would say probably 5 years ago, I left Utah, it's Girl Scout Council. And I always thought, and my family would tell you, she bleeds green. She is going to retire in that place. And I had a conversation with one of my spiritual advisors, and she said, you're not happy, and you need to deal with that. And I didn't want to hear that. I did not want to hear her say that, because I'm going to GSUSA. I'm only going to do Girl Scouts. And I had to come to grips with Girl Scouts is not the only thing I can do. But for 17 and a half years, I believed that. I believed it was the only thing I could do. And I was good at it. So to walk away from them, I was telling I don't even know who I told this, but I said, I gave my notice after having that conversation and doing some self-reflection, and it hurt to reflect. It hurt after she said that to me. Because I'm like, what do you know? You don't know. I'm gonna be it. She said, you need to get out of the seat. It's somebody else's seat. And you go to places, and I've now started taking this with me everywhere that I've been since then, is that we fill gaps in space and time when it's for us to do that. But we also have to realize when it's no longer time for us to do that, we need to step aside, because somebody else is supposed to come and fill the next set of gaps, or the ones that you couldn't fill when you were there. So that was so powerful for her to say that to me, but I hated her for it.
Yeah.
I did. And I was like, you don't even know. And in my internal space, I was saying, but this is the only job you know how to do. You don't know how to do anything else. So I had to find myself and gather all of the skills that I had ever done and try to recreate or transform those skills into something beyond me, something that was going to be for the people that I worked with, for the neighborhood or community that I was in. And I started finding out but you have a lot of gifts, and somebody else can use them right now. You need to show somebody else what you've been through and take them through all of those pain points that you're going through. And it gave me enough courage to give my notice. I did not tell my husband. It took me a week to tell him after I gave my notice.
How? Like,
I don't know. Her and I talked. 2 weeks went by. Things didn't feel as good as they used to feel in Girl Scouts to me. And I just went in one day, like you muster up that courage. And I went into her office and I said, I'm giving you my notice. Like, And she said, are you serious? She said, is it me? I said, actually, it's me. And I don't want to, because I love this place so much, I do not want to cause harm to the staff that are here and spew poison because I'm unhappy. And I know they can see it. I can feel that they see it. That's not the leader that I want to be. And so I need to step back. And it took me a week. And when I told him, he said, you what? I said, yeah, I quit my job and we were going to have to figure out something else. But I have to say that my faith, I have strong faith. And I just believe that God has something else for me to do. And sure enough, given my notice, gave her 3 months. And someone from Memphis called me and said, you know what, we need you here. And I really kind of, I prayed over it and thought it through and talked to my husband about it and mulled over it again some more. And I was being drawn there. There was something that was drawing me there. And I ended up in Memphis, Tennessee, working for a small nonprofit. And they needed me there. There were gaps there that I needed to fill and that only I could fill them.
So I want to pause there on that notion of gaps. What are the gaps that you are here to fill at Goodman Community Center?
I think one of the biggest gaps is to get the staff that are in this space to recognize that they are experts in this space. They are experts at this work. I've gone tons of places, Angela, and every time I mention I work at Goodman, they're like, oh my God, Goodman. Like, people have so many wonderful stories about this place. And when I came here, as I got to know all of my staff, because I spent time with each one of them when I came, I'm saying, these are some wonderful people. Let's make them experts. Because sometimes I think we get jobs and we don't think about that expertise part. Because expertise sounds like you got a big old education, you spend a whole bunch of money for it. That's not what it is. It's those abilities within us that are just ours, that only we can do it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you just, yes. Yeah.
What is the
that's a big
expertise
thing
that you see in your team here and that you want to shine a light on and amplify? I'm a hot mess.
No, that's okay. I think that I have experts in the field of transformation. I have experts that are family engagers. I have experts that want to turn around children's lives in all types of ways, in every facet, every bucket, and it's heartfelt. It comes from a place that you couldn't buy in a bookstore, that you couldn't go to the school and get. It's a natural. I don't even know. I think that's why I love it here so much, because I feel like I'm home. It is the place where growth happens and spirits are being opened and minds are blossoming. And I see it every day in everything. And I get up in the morning and think about how I'm going to have an impact in that. It is powerful. I'm in a really crazy space. So that's what the tears are about, is the overwhelmingness of the space and the opportunity and the beauty that is here that I didn't think I would ever see. But I see it every day. And I want to come because I want to feel it every day. I want to interact with it every day.
So one of my favorite questions to ask folks.
Oh, gosh.
If you could, there's going to be actually three part of this question. If you could write a love letter to your team here, what would it say?
If I could write a love letter, I would tell them how proud I am. I would tell them that I'm here for them, that my door is open, that I need to tell them the truth about who they are as people, and the gifts that they bring and how they need to let them shine. And I tell stories with everything, so I'm going to give you one. My oldest daughter has a daughter. She's the only grandbaby of mine that calls me Nina. We have a very special bond, and I was talking to my daughter one day, and I said, you know, you have a lot of siblings. You have, well, I don't have that many kids, but you have three siblings, and you have nieces and nephews and cousins that are looking up to you. And she got upset with me. She said, I don't want them looking up to me. Why is that happening? I said, it's just what happens. And I said, and because I'm telling you that, you can't say that you're not aware. So in that awareness, whether you want to accept it or not, you need to think about the way you act, the way you talk, the way you walk, and what you do, and how you're seen, because they are watching you. So to my staff, that's what I would say. All of those things are important in the work that we do every day. I want to model it. I know that my executive team wants to model it, and my senior leadership team wants to model it. And if you don't know how to be, ask us. That's what we're here for. Use us. Use me. Like, come in my office and plop down and tell me all your dreams and let me help you get there. That's my job. That's what I was born to do. It's not, they don't pay me to do that. That's what I was born to do. And I love doing that because somebody had to do that with me. Somebody had to push me along and be hard on me too and say, you know what, you need to move, or you need to stop, or try doing it this way because you're not getting anywhere that way. So I would tell them that. And then I would tell them that I love them, because the work that they do is so important in this community right now. And we need to rev it up. We need to, I don't know how we tell everybody this is what we're doing and we need your help around it. And I'm not talking about monetary help. A lot of people talk that. We need hands, we need feet, we need voices, we need talent and skills. We need your treasures, which are those things that are most dear to you, to help pour into the staff and the children and the families that we serve every day, because they need a light. And it only takes one person to do that. So we need them to be the one.
It's a good transition point. What's a love letter that you would have to the children and the families?
That we want to be there for them, that a lot of us have had the same types of adversity that they have had, and that they can get out of it if they want to. I also would be tough on them too and challenge them to get out, to rise up in positive ways, because people are watching them too. It doesn't matter where you come from. People are watching. They want to see how you handle yourself. We have to stop, to me, as a community, as a nation, being reactive to everything. How are we going to proactively change our own communities? And we only can start with our own. We can talk about what's going on around everywhere else, but what we doing in Madison? What are we doing on the east side? What are we doing right here in Goodman? That's what matters.
You ready for the next one?
Oh gosh, no.
What's a love letter to yourself?
For
right now.
For right now is to, as scary as the journey has been, look back at it, glean whatever I can from it, be open to what's coming. I would tell myself not to be so hard on myself. I would tell myself to reflect every single day, and I've been practicing doing that, which I had never been doing. I would tell myself to use my voice more. I would say in the last 8 months, I use my voice a lot more than I ever have. And I'm standing up for things that are super important to me, but they're also important to Goodman, and so it's a fit. And I think being in this space has allowed me to do that. I see the staff working with the teens on advocacy and their rights and how their voices are important. And then I think about my dad, because he was that way. And I said, why did I do that earlier? Why didn't I do it sooner? It wasn't time yet. It was time for me all those things had to happen to get me to here, so that I knew the time. so that you just, a light bulb just goes on sometimes. And you're wondering why it does. And I don't know what the end result is. But I know this time that I'm in, that love letter to myself would be to just relish and honor the time that you have, because it's precious, you won't get it back. And a lot of people are watching. They're watching.
So you've talked about your dad a little bit, touched on it. And we know that, I think you and I both know the role of fathers and who we are as leaders. What would you want your dad to know right now about where you're at in leading Goodman?
Oh gosh. I think about this all the time. My daddy's picture is in my office. And he was powerful. I watched him one time literally take his shirt off and give it to a homeless person. I was a little bitty girl, but I remember that. I would want him to know that he told me one time that I was born for this and I didn't know what he meant. But I would tell him he's right. I didn't know I was, and of course it's taken a long time to get to this place, and he's no longer with us, but I often think about him and hope that he's proud of me, because he touched so many people, and I want to be more like him. He had his own issues, hands down, we all got them, right? But he loved, like that deep love that you don't find anymore. And he loved just people in general. And I want to be like that. I want to just love that deep love, that people can feel it when I come in a room.
I think we can.
I just, yeah. So that's what I wish. That's what I wish I could tell him. Look what you've made. Look what you've contributed to. Your legacy is running right through me.
So one of the things that I see so much in you is courage.
Do you?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I'm in these types of conversations a lot, and sometimes that notion of trauma feels very comfortable, very, very comfortable, and you get used to it. So how have you had the courage to step out and not wear trauma like a blanket and do something new every time?
Ooh, it took me a while, but it goes back to that bitterness. Like, I know that things happen to us. Something's happened to all of us in different situations, and I think I don't wear it because I'll go back to people are watching. And adversity is a part of life. I remember being on welfare. My sister don't know this, but when I was on welfare with my 4 children, she was too young then, but I always felt like I let them down, my sisters down, because I was in a place that I needed, and I was supposed to be leading them, and I wasn't showing them really. I didn't have that. I didn't think that was leadership, what I was doing. And so I, for many years, felt very bad about probably even speaking when I was in a room with them. And I would always have this edge to my voice when I would talk to them, and always kind of like lashing out in defense to them. And but that came from a place of fear and disappointment, and I felt like I had let them down. I wanted to be the big sister. I wanted to be the one who took care of them and showed them the next step. So I just, with all of that, I think that has been part of my journey in forgiving myself, knowing that we are all in different situations at different times, but that does not make us. It is only a part of our story. And I needed to go through all of those things to get to here. And to be able to, like I said, you asked me how I was feeling at the beginning, afraid and scared and excited and just all of that all balled up into one, but I'm also ready to go. So I think that all of that had to happen to get me to a place where I could be free. Free from fear, free from doubt, free from letting y'all down. And I know I didn't, but you put so many things, you just pack all of this stuff on top of yourself until you weigh down, and you have to unpack some of that, even though I hate that word. People use that word all the time. You had to lift those things off of yourself so that you could be able to see that it's okay. You're okay. I'm okay. You know? And so.
One of the things I adore about you is your authenticity and your vulnerability, which is huge. You're like the Black Brene Brown.
You're so silly.
So,
they get tired of me crying around here, but I will just, hey, it's just how it happens.
yes. So you've got an audience here, and everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody has had a story of some sort of trauma, and sometimes that leads to shame.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want to tell everyone here in terms of what they are capable of doing?
Oh my goodness. What would I want to tell you? I would want to tell you that there is hope and there is freedom in being truthful and honest with yourself. But it takes so much work to get to a place where you can do that, and it's going to hurt. That place is going to hurt when you can get to that place of honesty with yourself. I remember having a Girl Scout troop that I was helping out with because I loved working with the girls, and we did an activity and we made the girls write a letter to themselves at the beginning of the year, and then we sent those letters out to the girls like in mid-year so that they could see what they said and if they did accomplish the things for the first 6 months of school. And I remember one of the girls coming to me a long time after, and she said, "Miss Leticia, I remember you telling me to just be truthful in my letter to myself." And I said, and we mailed the letters, they got them in the mail, and she said, when I got the letter and I read the letter, I realized I still wasn't being truthful. 6 months had gone by, and I said that I wanted to do this, and I was gonna try that, and I was gonna, she said, but you also told me to forgive myself if I missed the mark against myself. And she said, and so I forgave myself, and I wrote myself another letter. And a year from that date, everything that I put in that letter, I could say I probably did all of them. Now, this was a young girl who at the time was probably 12 or 13, and I saw her again when she was like 16 or 17. Like, if you could learn that so young and start, I wish I had learned that young, because I wouldn't be at this age feeling like, oh, I missed all of this stuff, or I let myself down for this long. It's not about that. It's about finding that place of honesty, tapping into it, and then making yourself launch from that point. Whatever happened back here, it happened. Yes, that's part of your story. But launch from that place of honesty. So now what I do is I get up in the morning. I kid you not, every morning my husband's like, could you turn the light off? But I get in the mirror and I look at myself and I ask myself, who are you going to impact today? Who are you going to be truthful with today? And what did you do yesterday that you could have done different that affects someone else or something else? Those 3 questions are the ones that I ask myself. And hands down, I get those answers during the day. Now, I'm not even looking for them. I just say them out loud in the mirror, because the person in the mirror is the one that you have to live with. Nobody have to live with that person. That's who you have to live with, Miss Angela. And sometimes that person ain't pretty. Sometimes that person is very ugly. But it's okay. Because in honesty, you can launch yourself from there and you can do something different. So I try, lately I'm just open.
Yes.
And it's a little scary.
Yeah. can be a little terrifying.
It's terrifying.
I've got a couple more questions. One question that's been bubbling up for me is this notion of remembering.
Yes.
So when I think of the word remember, I think of and then member.
Okay.
What do you, and to make whole again, remember. What do you want to remember as in this role that you have right now?
I want to remember to be patient and to remember to use a different lens with every person that I meet, because they're all coming from somewhere else. None of the people in this room are the same. And so I have to take the lenses. I was telling my staff this one time, I was teaching a session about leadership lens, and I was saying, it's kind of like when you go to the eye doctor and you know how they flip the lens. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 1? Is it 4? Trying to get your lenses right. I think we have to do that. And so that's what I want to remember to do. And to give people a chance. I'm as outward as it sounds like I am. I'm normally only like this with my family, but I love people. Like my daddy loved people. I love people and I love being around people. But what I often do is because of whatever within my psyche, I kind of pull myself back from people sometimes. And it takes me a long time to kind of warm up in certain situations. So I want to remember that I don't have to do that I could just be authentically me, unapologetically me too. That's the other thing. Not being sorry for what I didn't say or how I said it, or some things come out, we make mistakes, we're not perfect. We just have to, remember that you're human. It's okay. You'll get another chance to have that conversation or to have that interaction, and you'll change it because you'll be thinking about it. It always that awareness. Remember to be aware.
Yes.
Remember to be present. I haven't been for a long time. And at Goodman, I feel so present, like in everything. It's me in a nutshell, Goodman is.
That's awesome.
So,
what is your North Star that's guiding you for Goodman?
My North Star that guides me is my faith in God, and the idea that things only need one person to do, if that makes sense. Like, I'm here and I have all these people that are in different roles, but it only takes them to do their job, and then I support them and they support me. So it's me being that one, and then them being their one in their space. I can't get that out of my head, Amy, as you know. Be the one, be the one, be the one, be the one, be the one. That means so much to me. I think that we all need to be that one in whatever space we're in. We can't wait on somebody else to do it. We can't wait for somebody else to say it. We have to be that one if nobody else is doing it. So I'm going to be a little extra right now. Okay.
We are living in the time of an apocalypse. I told y'all I was going to be extra.
An apocalypse, Angela?
Yeah, I mean, and when
That's me.
Oh, and when I think of apocalypse, I just think about that notion that it means that things are being revealed, right?
Yeah.
Revelations, things are being revealed. What is being revealed in terms of what's needed for Goodman right now?
Oh my goodness, we need to be on one accord around equity and inclusion and accessibility in a different way. That's huge for us. We need to have strong parent engagement because we do a lot for our children. We fill in the gaps for them every single day. But how do we bring their parents along with them? Because some of them need us to fill the gaps for them too. And we think about it and we talk about it and we may think we're doing it, but we're not intentional enough there. And I want us to get very intentional about that. Yeah, I think that's what's needed. I think understanding that people have to get what they need to get from Goodman and may not stay with us for 30 years like Becky did. Becky stayed here to build this place, but there are people that have started our organization that are here filling the gap until they go somewhere else. And so us as leaders have to give them everything they need so that they're equipped to go out there and tackle that one thing that's theirs to do.
Yeah. So we've had a good conversation here. What's the one thing that you want each one of these folks here to do?
I want you to dig in, find that one thing that you can be passionate about and help with and not apologize for it, just do it. We embrace those who have lifted us up. You guys are here because you love this place, because you support this place. And there are bigger fish to fry, as my daddy would say, around diversity, equity, inclusion, around parent engagement. How can you help us in those areas? You have skills, you have talents. You know people who have skills and talents that can help us in those areas. And we welcome that. The other thing is tell us what the community needs, because some of that we don't know. And we're always trying to figure out ways to attach ourselves or connect to the community in a way that is going to be helpful and supportive to them. And some of that information, you have it. So help us with that so that we can do the right things for those people who are not sitting at the table with us. I mention all the time to my staff that we cannot make decisions about them without them. So also allow us into your spaces to talk to those people that are in our community so that we can hear from them directly. We can't make decisions without them. We can't, we shouldn't. So that's what I think, thank y'all for coming. Like, this is a big deal.
So I'm going to ask you another question, but first I want some audience participation. So we're going to hand out some 3x5 note cards. And in one word, if you can write on the note card what you're thinking and feeling as a result of this conversation, like what's on your heart or mind, and that's going to be a gift for Leticia to come back to on a regular basis. Yeah. So as just write it on the note card, and then folks will collect it in a little basket as y'all leave. So I think I have several questions. I do. First, what's your current theme song?
My first move. Oh, so there is a song. Oh God, there's a song that I listen to like every single day, and I don't even know what the name of the song is, but the chorus says, "I'm glad he loves me. Even if it's just me, he loves me." I listen to it every day. I forgot what the artist's name is, but it's a gospel song that I listen to like every day. It reminds me that if it was just me, if no one else was in the room or on the earth, there's someone who loves just me. And so it's a powerful song too. So that's my theme.
All right. I love it.
I was gonna give you some Beyonce, but I ain't gonna give you that.
Beyonce's good. I love Beyonce. So imagine you were 8-year-old Leticia coming to the Goodman Community Center.
Oh my goodness.
What would 8-year-old Leticia coming to GCC need to know?
She would need to know that she could just be herself and be 8. I have a granddaughter who struggles with weight and self-esteem all the time, and the one thing that I tell her every time she's with me is that just be 10. You don't have to be anything but 10, and this is what 10-year-olds do. So I would tell 8-year-old Leticia, just be 8. And our staff do that every day. They do that every day with the children that they serve in. If you 5, just be 5. That's what a 5-year-old do. You doing the right thing. And that's what I would tell her. Just be 8.
And in 5 years, what do you want the story of Goodman Community Center to be?
I would want people to see us grow in a way that is transformative in this community, that they can see the change that has happened over the 30 years, or at that point it'll be 36 years in the community, and how we went from this level to this level to this level, always pivoting for the needs of our community. Nice. Because I think we do that every day, and I think we will continue to. It is my hope that we continue to do that.
Anything else you want to offer that's coming up for you?
No. Again, thank you so much for coming. It is important to me that you understand who I am as a person, how I want to lead this organization, how important community is to me, because I know that it is important to you. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. And just support me. You know, when you see that I'm not doing things right, tell me. Be honest with me. If there's something that I'm missing, tell me that too. Because I am open to learning how to better serve in any way or capacity that I can. So I give that to you. I'm a big girl. I can take it. So.
One other thing, it's important that you lead with love, and I can tell that. What does that mean for you in terms of, because sometimes you've heard about like the nonprofit industrial complex. Yeah. Again, I'm extra every once in a while. So what does it mean to kind of change that paradigm and to lead with love at the center as opposed to competing against other nonprofits in the area?
I think that there's a piece of the pie for everybody. And while I say that I want our staff to be experts in what they do, they're the only ones who can do that. Nobody's going to do it like Goodman. And just like the Boys and Girls Club, just like Kennedy Heights, just all of these community centers has one thing that is just theirs. And I want us to honor that more. We don't have to compete. There's plenty of children and families out there that need us. So how do we come together and make a stand for them here in Madison and just say, you know what, we're not competing. I don't have to go over here and just do this. Or if I do, that's okay because somebody else is going to take care of that. And then the other thing too is the leading with love has been a veil that I've slowly taken off, because I was told a long time ago by an old supervisor that you love them too much. You love them too much. You shouldn't be that way. They're running over you because you love them too much. And I had to slowly get to a place where, no, I'm not. I'm not loving them enough. And I want some other people to love them. So it is who I am as a person, and I am okay with that today. And I will not apologize for that today. It is just who I am. And I'm all right with me.
That's awesome. Letesha, you are fantastic. I am so happy that you are part of this community.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this.
Thank you.